Alrighty. Cool. So let's open this thing up here. And the first thing we're going to build is depressingly extremely easy. Okay. We're going to build this first one right here. Okay. It's like, all right. So this is a format though that you see a lot of times in, I mean, you see it in when people are selling their own things, but especially inside of affiliate marketing, when they're just trying to collect the lead and then push you and redirect you over to something else. But it is funny enough, like one of the highest converting things to do this. And the way they'll do it is, so we have about one column here. We'll put a headline in. If you have questions, things like that, keep hiding. I'm just, for everyone else on the recording afterwards, I'm just moving down the Q&A thing. I'll come back to it in a second here so I can actually see my screen. So you can keep tossing stuff though, and I'll come back in a second. Input field, and then a button. Literally, that's about it. Sadly, that's about it. Okay, just email address because we want low barrier to actually get someone on in, which is about the smallest barrier as you could ever have. But that's why of a submit action on the button. And let's toss in, I'm gonna make the background, I kind of like this grayish color, but let's make the whole thing white there, and then we'll make this background kind of that grayish. Kind of like that just a little bit. Cool. It's funny, like, anyway. Russell and I have even gone through and like looked to try and see. I mean, it's like it's funny and like how huge this kind of thing can convert. You know, now a lot of it, so what's selling the thing is the headline. So it's got to be a freaking good headline. But the curiosity alone, people are like, you serious? This is it? It totally is. Like this is what people do all the time with this. I like the color scheme with, all right. So anyway, I wish there was more I could toss in here. So what I would toss in here then is things like proof, right? So people can see that other people have been opting in, which would be super awesome. You could toss in things like, I would certainly put pixel tracking on here for your ads. I would certainly put obviously any kind of, I mean, I would lace the thing like crazy with all sorts of stuff. You know, any kind of cookies you need to cook in with, anything like that. You know. But I wish there was more. There isn't. There's literally nothing else. This is it. Okay. Let's make sure though that we do have, I would title up here at the top the name of the thing that they're getting. And I would put the word free in the headline. Get free, you know, XYZ, whatever the thing is that you're saying. I'd fill out whatever the headline is here. I put that. It always frustrates me when people forget to do metadata. I would put the same headline right here at the top there. And it, like, this stuff matters. This is like the play that ClickFunnels lets you create for SEO. So I mean, make it a good play right here, right? So whatever the name of the free thing is, right, XYZ, I'd put your name in, obviously your name here, and then the URL, I'd make sure that it's Facebook shared, that the image is a Facebook shareable thing, meaning it's the correct size and pixel height and width for actual shareability there. The other thing I would do is come over to the general settings over here. I would not have your affiliate badge because that's technically another exit. So usually I don't put affiliate badges on the front end of things. I usually put them on the thank you pages. And then definitely make sure that it's showable inside search engines. When you put the hide thing, it puts the no link on it, which discourages. It's up to search engines to honor it, but it will discourage search engines from indexing the page. And you want this indexed as much as possible. There's not much for it to get indexed with, which is usually why you have to have paid traffic to these. But this still right here though, right? Headline. You might even have a sub headline in here. You might have a little, some bullets or something like that. But truly, it's about it. You're not really gonna put much else on here to get people's actually opt in with this thing. And the lack of explaining in context is one of the major reasons why. So I wish that there was more that I could show you with this, but there isn't. That's about it. All right. So if you guys have the Funnel Hackers Cookbook, what I want to go through real quick with this though. So I actually wrote a good chunk of the latter half of this book, the Funnel Hacker Cookbook here. Okay, so all the sections here where it explains like how I would use each one of these, that's the things that I wrote for each individual funnel. There's a ton of funnels, and I had to think through all the different scenarios and how I would use each one of them and each one of the pieces in there. And so one of the things I did though, obviously, so for what I want to do is I just want to go through what I wrote on this, so you guys know how I would also use this in each one of the industries that you're currently in. Okay, it took me like 3 days to think through all this stuff, because it was like, we know there's at least 6 different industries that people are using funnel stuff with, 6 different industries of business in general, and how would we do it in each specific one? So times like the 32 different funnel types that we are using, you know what I mean, for the different steps. It was a lot. It was a huge brain jog. So anyway, so I said in here, if I was selling as an author, speaker, coach, consultant, I'd use this funnel if I had a good hook that someone would want to know, meaning the headline of my book, right? And after they give me the email address, I'd tell them the rest of the story on the next page. That could be a very easy way to set this thing up if you ever have a book. You put in, get the first, well, you just put the headline of the book in. You wouldn't put the first few chapters in, because that's a lead magnet. If I was selling as a network or affiliate marketer, I'd find the best hook for my product and use that as a headline, and give, and then I'd get them to give me their email address to find out what the product is. You know what I mean? That's how I built that first affiliate thing. Is I went through, and when I was in college, and I went through and I grabbed the headlines and things like that of the affiliate product. I tweaked them a little bit. I found out kind of what the main promise of their video was, and that became the headline for my opt-in page here. And then I just redirected them to my affiliate link for that product. If I was selling in e-commerce, I'd use this funnel to introduce them to a weird new way of doing something. Right, that's pretty common in that industry. After they'd given me their email address, I would show them how my product fulfills promise. Obviously, I would. If I was selling B2B, I'd use this funnel to hook people with a power claim for a case study. That's a powerful thing in general. If you have a case study or something like that, case study reveals X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? That's definitely a squeeze page. If I was selling as a professional, like a professional services, again, I'd find the best hook and use that headline to build curiosity. It's the same premise for everything. It does not matter what business you're building. It does not matter what business you're in. It's the same thing for all of it. If I was selling in retail / brick and mortar, I'd share a little known secret fact about my company or my product. You know what I mean? Like if I was like Papa Murphy's, I would make a squeeze page that says, get the secret recipe of our secret sauce, and then I just have the email address. You know what I mean? Like that's retail would be crazy easy to do this with. Coupon lists are notorious for this. Get coupon, boom, and that's it. Sent to your email address. Anyway, so I just thought I'd go through those things a little bit here. Anyone think they don't fit in one of those categories? We're gonna jazz up the page a little bit here. That's nasty. We're not putting that in. Repeat, boom, and then the background. Let's toss in a generic big background. Not in love, but it's working. There we go. I do like that. Kind of. What the heck is in the back? That's kind of weird looking. Anyway. It's making sense so far. I know it's wicked simple, so we're going to go on to the next one. All right. Rename this. This is the just normal squeeze page opt-in. And name it in both places. Okay, and I'm just gonna clone the thing so we can keep the same style throughout it, and it's all the same page type, so I don't need to do that weird, like, you know. Let's see, reverse squeeze page opt-in. I don't need to do that weird inspect thing to get people in. Toss it there, add to funnel. All right, so let's dive in here just a little bit. This is like I was saying before, this is my preferred way to do this stuff. Okay. By the way, I like doing more dark backgrounds because, and then a lighter, you know, usually I do full page width. Okay. Horizontal means stability and security, right? Height means power. Okay, that's typically what that means. That's why big, massive skyscrapers, there's power with that, right? A lot of government buildings, though, and a lot of government monuments are both. They're just huge structures in general. That's why monuments are gigantic. But honestly, if you look at like courthouses and things like that, they're big, wide, got a lot of those flat line horizontal staircases, things like that. That's a lot of design elements that brings in the feelings of security, of authority and power. I'm sorry, not authority and power, but like stability. Okay, that's one of the reasons why I like to do a lot of things in full width columns. Okay, I from side page to side page. So most of the times I don't do what I just did right here, but with this page type, it works really, really well to do like that. But then power, if you think of like big, massive columns that people will put in front of their houses, you know, in front of big doorways, in front of super nice houses, things like that. So there's power with that, right? Anyway, that's why that happens. Those are shapes mean stuff. Diagonal lines means motion, and so if you look at magazine covers, a lot of times what will happen on them is whatever picture they're in, it might be some picture of some person, but the shape of their body is in a diagonal way, which means motion, action, and creates curiosity. Whereas like if it's horizontal, things like that, you know what I mean? Like if it's a real estate magazine or a home decorating magazine, a lot of things that will be on there a lot of times, if it's showing like the picture of a house with the yard with flat lines with a little bit of authority with it, but really means security and peace and things like that, like showing the grass against the house makes a line that actually creates this feeling of oh my gosh, I could see myself living there, you know what I mean? That people don't always know that's why they do that, but that's one of the reasons why that certain kind of design will follow the audience and the marketing that you're actually going for. So anyway, I don't know if that helps at all, but like that's the reason why. So usually I do full things in full length, the whole all the way across, right? Very, very little massive authority. I'm not trying to be that. I was trying to show that a little bit, and that's kind of a side benefit of what I was doing on this page over here, right? With Secret MLM Hacks on this page right here. Right, it's just me on the side, top to bottom, pretty much. Computer is there we go, diving down a little bit. Like, see, top to bottom, there's some authority with that. I don't want anything else to be on the page either, just the fact that the opt-in is there. My eyes are going to the actual text. That's on purpose. I think initially I was actually faced the other way, but I flipped myself so that I would be looking at the text, and the text is on the right side of the page, because it's been shown that usually text on the right side of the page converts better than when it's on the left side of the page, and they think it's because some people don't have scroll bars on their mice, so they have to click the sidebar right here, and the lazy people of the planet will not move their mouse to the left side of the page. It's a lot easier when it's just right here on the right. No joke, okay? Anyway, interesting stuff, huh? Got some comments coming in. Let me go check them out here. Should we write in small text somewhere some sort of notice that they will be subscribing to our email list by claiming this free offer? I don't, and I definitely do not ever do double opt-ins, ever. But yeah. Churches, power and stability. Interesting. That is interesting. Yeah, absolutely. Architecture speaks a lot to that kind of a design, stuff like that. But the same kind of psychology and elements are in page design. And as you start walking around and looking around and start checking out people's pages, especially people who are in some kind of position of authority, a lot of times you'll start to see these different design elements. And if something feels off, it's because they're not adhering to what is typically accepted as what means authority versus stability and stuff like that, or motion. So my arm creates action right there. I'm looking back over. There's some stability with the horizontal line, but I'm looking directly over. Anyway, and if that sounds goofy and cheesy, I totally get it. But it works and is true. So anyway, so let's build out this one, though. This is the reverse squeeze page. Reverse squeeze page. So you'll notice on this one, it's totally fine if we're going to toss in. If we actually put in here a... first of all, let me grab this image here. And I'm going to put it on the entire section. And let's repeat it. Let's get rid of this border here. And I want to make this full width. It's really just that other one that I won't do full width on. I'm actually going to make another section, though. And this will become our top right here. I'm going to do one column row, and I'm actually going to drop an image in. I got popped in weird. Okay. And icons and logos are literally just for scratching the back of the individual, especially on a front end funnel. Nobody knows who you are yet. No one totally cares that you got a sweet logo. They're just trying to answer the question, who are you? What do you want from me? Are you going to fight me? Should I run? So especially at the beginning, guys, like logos of your business and icons do nothing for conversion. Okay. In follow-up sales and stuff like that, yeah, you know, it might go and it's actually going to start tossing in, you know, some there might be some credibility things that start happening with this whole thing, right? But anyway, that's the whole reason why. So don't worry about logos. Ah, crap. I forgot to save. I just reloaded the page. All right. 2.5. All right. But that's why. So don't worry about. That's why I get frustrated when people are like, "Do you like this logo?" And I was like, "Where are you putting it?" Well, it's for my Tripwire funnel. Who cares? Don't worry about it. Doesn't matter yet. All right. I'm gonna toss the image in. Boom, boom. So I toss this thing at seriously like 50 pixels height. Then we're gonna pull everything up high, and I'm gonna bring it off to the side. Page hierarchy is a big deal. If you want to know what your page hierarchy is, close your eyes and then open them, and where do your eyes go on the page first, right? And there's a hierarchy of where your eyes get focused to, and that's the reason why you have big text for the main ideas, and then subtext is the supporting of the main idea. You don't. Otherwise, what ends up happening is you got people don't know where to look. You guys didn't know I was such a geek about this stuff. Okay, so we have that color. Let's go darker. This could look good. This could look terrible. So let's see what happens. I want the background here. That's totally black. I don't want that. I want an in between of those. This is a This is a monochromatic color scheme. restore that to what it was, but I want the top banner here to be an anchor for the page. Anchors don't always have to be the bottom of pages. It's not quite black. Let's lighten it just a little, add some more white. There we go. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to toss in a video. Headlines and buttons should be gigantic, usually. And I like the subheadline to be a slightly lighter color than the headline, so that the headline has more authority on the page. Awesome. And I don't actually like it when the email address I don't like it when input fields are like huge. Russell kind of likes that. I don't. You know, so I'm gonna go in and I'm actually gonna grab. We're gonna add a new column here, and let's toss in the button and the boom. And I'm just gonna shrink down the percentage width. Boop, right there. It doesn't need to be that big. I'm going to toss in another little call to action here. Let's toss 5 pixel padding on it. I hope this is somewhat interesting to watch. I never know. I know I'm a total geek about it, so I never know if it's like super awesome or not. All right, so I'm actually gonna make. Okay, you know what? I want this. Let's go grab a poppy kind of a color. Okay, and the reason we're gonna do that because poppy colors has a lot of authority on a page, right? If you have a color that's really kind of dark versus a bright color, your eyes shoot over to the bright color real fast. It's the only issue I have with this shirt is that it's all loud, right? All right, so if we go and let's go add. I was at a conference once and I was speaking at it, and some guy got up and he goes, yeah, we found that orange is like the worst converting color ever. I was like, what? Go tell that to Amazon, who tests everything. It's like, that's not true at all. Anyway, so I'm going to choose like a brightish orangish color, somewhere around there. As long as it doesn't look like nasty puke or something like that. So I want that. There we go. It almost looks like macaroni. Let's go grab this color though. And I actually want this to be the color of the button. So because that's going to be the focus of the page. Oh, that does look a little bit like nasty puke. So let's brighten that up just a little bit. See how it looks on the page. Now let's come back over to Paladin, and I'm going to drop the new color back in. Let's see what colors look good with it. Cool. So that blue, I like this blue. So we're going to grab this blue. And this blue is going to be, is it brighter? All right, we're going to grab a slightly darker blue with it. But that blue, I don't want it to compete with what's going on up here. So I grabbed a compatible color by math. Okay, math told me what color looks good on this. And I'm going to go and I want to give attention and direction to the fact that there is an opt-in thing right here. Okay, so this is kind of like the headline for the opt-in. Okay, this is the headline for the video. This is the headline for the opt-in though. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to toss an arrow inside of it to give attention to what should be happening next. Arrows do the most magical things. I have no idea why they convert so much, but they do, and they work. So. And then I'm also going to, let's make the text look different than everything else. So we're going to capitalize all of it. And I want to pull in the letter spacing just a little bit. So we'll make it bold. And because it's so bold and so big, I'm going to shrink it down just a little bit so it doesn't scream too loud. pop out certain elements of it. There we go. Large call to action headline. Okay, and what I'm gonna do now is let's cinch up a bit. So I'm gonna pull that totally up to 0, and a little extra spacing. Boom, boom, because I want this backdrop here. You guys didn't know I was gonna go through all this. What I want to do is I want to make this pop different than everything else on the page. So the back of the page has a bit of a gradient to it, but I want the opt-in, the actual focus of the page, to look visually different than everything else. Okay. I'm going to clone this top piece here and make it the bottom. That's where the footer is going to go and everything too. And we'll grab in the headline, and I want this to pop out just a little bit. It can't be too crazy. Okay, it can't, you know, but I still want it to look somewhat good though. So I'm going to go in and let's grab a little bit of a border here, and I'll drop down the color on it. So it pops a little bit. Square up the sides a little. Yeah, there we go. Oof. It's a little too bright. And then we'll put the arrow on the button for this one. So the arrow is pointing down, but then also to the button. It's so funny, you guys, the subtle things that happen. You know what's interesting is, I know everyone thinks and believes that, and it's true. I mean, we all are individuals, right? All of us are individuals. We all have our own specific, you know, whatever, belief patterns. We all do our own things, but we are all influenced on a more of a together scale than I think most people realize. And what I mean by that is, like, there's some people who look at this and be like, oh, but that wouldn't influence me. It's like, okay, then how come my conversion rate as a whole increases by 10% when I do X, Y, and Z? You know what I mean? It's like, yes, we all still make our own decisions, but a lot of times the easiest people to influence are the ones who think that they're making their decisions on their own. You know what I mean? We are all influenced like crazy. And it's just funny what human psychology does as far as some of these pieces of influence. All right, let me grab, I usually grab 40% top and bottom for both the section and the row for legal. The technical term is legal crap. But I'm going to come here and just toss that in right there. And all right, anyway, let me drop in, and I usually make it 12-point font right there. And then let's back off the color a little bit so it's not so loud. There we go. And then by law, I need to have things like terms, privacy, support. That's really it. And then this is not legal advice, just saying what I put on there. Then I put a copyright notice on there, put the name of the website, the LLC, and then also you are supposed to have a physical address for every page, like ever, which kind of sucks. But so what I did is I went and I grabbed a P.O. box, and that's my business address, because I don't want people, you know what I mean, shipping stuff directly out to me here. So okay, we'll grab, I'm not like mad in love with the color scheme or anything. In fact, I think it looks a little bit weird, but I think it would work. And then it'd be kind of neat to have this be like a story-based headline, since you're giving it the goods to them before you ask for the opt-in. So like, how I ... and ... without ... you know, and you give the same thing there, give the same thing. Anyway, that's 100% totally, you know, anyway, I would run with this. I love my sales funnel broker color scheme and my MLM one. That's why I always design in those. I'm trying to do something a little different. I've got a whole bunch of other ideas in my head, but that's not the focus of this. It's not trying to be a design course. So I'm just trying to say what I'm doing is I'm doing it, why I'm doing it. Okay. All right, so that is a reverse squeeze page. Any questions with that? I see a few comments jumping in. Let me jump over here real quick. Okay. Okay, Edward said, under what circumstances would we use an opt-in page where you enter the email via a pop-up versus just having an input form plus submit button? I like to do the pop-up thing on like the lead magnet one because I feel like there's something that I'm trying to give them, a tangible that I'm trying to interact with them with. When it's a reverse squeeze page and all I'm trying to do is just like bug them just a little bit, I'm not saying not to do. What's nice about the reverse squeeze pages, you are giving the stuff to them free. You're handing it off to them, which is awesome. And honestly, if they're leaving, an exit pop is a great thing to have because you can afford. I mean, chances are, if you didn't get them on that first hit, they're never coming back, right? Or you have to re-hit them again with some other thing with the value ladder because you did not convince them ahead of time. So I'm totally fine with exit pops. I know some people are like, oh, it's annoying. Who cares? Okay, this is like your last final shot if they're heading out, you know? So it is kind of nice to have the exit pops. It's nice to have those things in there. Anyway, it's totally up to you though. Totally up to you. I like to do it with lead magnet with the next one we're going to build because it lets me say, here you go. You know what I mean? Hey, just wanted you to know, like, I'm trying to tell you, I got the sweet thing for you. You know what I mean? So in this next one, I kind of like that. So it's that's slightly personal preference a little bit, but maybe I should have it on all my front end pages for low end of the value out of things. All right. Do you like bouncing or rocking buttons, or is this distracting? It's up to you. I think there's some scenarios where they look good, and I know that design is not the thing that ultimately converts, so it's hard for me to really say that. But that's kind of personal preference. I feel like I don't think it's something. I mean, maybe it boosts conversion a little bit. I've never tested that. I hardly ever use them, so that's totally up to you on that. So, great question though. Noah said, "Don't you need a phone number also?" I actually don't know the answer to that. I don't put them on there. I do obviously in my terms. I do in my privacy. It's a Google Voice number. I'm not handing out my personal one. But there's still a phone number there inside of it though. So maybe you're right though. Maybe you're supposed to. But I put it in the support thing. I put it so that it's still findable. I'm not hiding that. I just sometimes I'll use the phone number as a reason that they shouldn't leave. You know, like in Tripwire Funnels, Trey Llewellyn is notorious for that. So like on his order page, if there's an exit pop that says, as someone starts to leave, wait a second, do you just wish that somebody was there that you could answer a few questions with? Right, call this number now and you'll be talking to so-and-so. He's notorious for that. And he gets a few extra sales with that. It's not a bad thing at all, especially if you're having a higher ticket sale, to have someone there. You know, I will probably implement that at some point inside of my webinar funnel. I want to start capturing the people who saw the order page but didn't purchase, you know, and that's totally an Actionetics thing. So I want to put them on a smart list so that I know who those people are, and then have someone be calling them, closing them up, because they probably just have a few questions left. But I'll put a time delay on there of like a couple days, because they're going to go through my close sequence first, you know. So after a few days, if they saw the page but didn't purchase, then it would toss in like that. So that's probably something I'll probably implement at some point here. Okay, cool. The last thing I always do after I put in tracking and all the different things, I always mobile optimize. And I'll show you how I do that here, just because these are really easy pages. I'm going to go here. So all I do is you just come over to the mobile side here. And I used to, in the old editor, you used to have to clone the element and tag one. And, you know, as one is mobile only and one is desktop only. In some scenarios, you still have to do that, but not really that much anymore. Like for most things, especially for text, you don't have to. So I'm going to just click on settings, and I'm going to edit the mobile size. So as soon as I click here, it activates the mobile size, and I'm going to come and let's just drop down to like 32. There we go. It's looking way better. For the small call to action thing, depending on the size of it, you know, drop it down quite a bit as well. This in text is called an orphan. When you have one word on a single line by itself, and is usually a big no-no when it comes to text. But this is all about pattern interrupt, so that might be a good thing. But in this, most of the time, the way we build, we won't have orphans in our text. Anyway, so I'm gonna come down here, like this is that's an orphan right there. That's specifically what I'm looking for, to get rid of the orphans, things like that. So we're gonna come down right there. So there we go. Edit mobile size of the button text itself. Boom. Let's drop it way down. There we go. And then also of the button, we're gonna drop the button text size as well. That's typically the thing that I'm editing the most. That's way too small. There we go. Does that make sense? Super easy, really simple to do. I know there's a ton of different formats and things that are out there. Lots of different pixel widths, phones, someone who's on an iPad. I don't think you're gonna hit all of them by doing this kind of thing, but you're gonna make it look way better than having giant stuff all over the place. So that's the first, that's what I would do with that. Alrighty, let's back out of this thing. Let's go to the next one. Alright, so I'm just gonna clone the funnel step again. I'm going to call this a lead magnet. Boom, right there. Just drop in the name again on the page level. I'm going to add it to funnel. All right, attention getting headline. This is usually the format for our first pages that we'll put in the most. This is usually the one that we use most frequently, that I use most frequently, where you got the whole. The reason why is because this line right here represents the fold. It represents you not having to scroll down on your computer screen. So everything loads above the fold. Everything loads above it. So you're not only now just getting, like in this one, it's not necessarily that way. In the reverse squeeze page funnel, you still got stuff underneath. You might have to scroll down for the actual opt-in, which is a big no-no, you know, for most of the time. So you would shrink up that video so that the email and all that stuff is above the fold, so that they don't have to go anywhere else. It's all there on the page. Reverse squeeze pages aren't always that way, though. Sometimes you're given, you know, the big video and the goodies and all that stuff, and they have to scroll down. So in this one here, though, especially this one, we are trying to get everything above the fold. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to dump this over to a 2-column row here. Toss in the goods. Let's pull that up. Come on. Computer's doing 100 things right now. This one you're selling a little bit more. So a lot of times I do like to put a bullet list in there. You know, sub headline is right here, but it is a little bit bigger as far as like filling out the rest of the page, things like that. The button, so I'm going to shrink this up so that the video, I want the input field to feel as low impact as possible. So I'm actually going to come over here to the side. Let's shrink up a lot of this stuff here and see if we can make it fit the text. So I want it to pop, but I want it to feel low impact. Does that make sense? To them, to everything they're going to have to do. So I might have some description here as well. Center alignment is the weakest form of alignment, so I usually try as much as possible to center everything either right or left, not center. So there might be a little description here, a little headline. There we go. And I'm trying to kind of match. I usually do this in almost all my design, where I go through and actually try and match kind of the bottom line right there. So it creates a line. Now let's grab let's go to the advanced. Let's get rid of the arrow, or just turn it. Okay. I still want to pop this right column though. I want it to feel different. I want it to stand out. So it's there. It's a soft pitch though. That makes sense. So I'm going to click on columns right here on the side. So I'm just editing that column alone. Grab 10 pixel. Pixel top and bottom. 20 pixels pulled in on the sides. And we'll do the same like cool little border thing. Oh, at least there's some separation in the page with everything that's going on with it. We'll have to go back and edit a few things here as well, but that's totally fine. And let's round the corners up just a little bit. Let's pull in the sides a little bit. All right, and we'll pull in that side too just a bit. Cinch up and a little cinch up. There we go. Pops out a little bit. It's not as, I want a little more space there in the bottom, but it's good enough for now. Cool. The video will be auto-played. I can't believe how big of a fighting point this was for such a long time with some people we were building for. Auto-play the video. There's only been like one scenario ever where an auto-playing video hurts things, okay? It's almost always auto-play the video. It will increase your conversions, and literally just about every single time. There's been very few times where it has not done that. And see, I don't have to scroll down on the page. Everything's right there. Cinch up just a little bit more, so it is a little bit higher on the page though. That's the page. Breathe just a little. Boom, there we go. Now, one of the scenarios that is rough. Actually, let me look at these questions here I saw coming in. Luis said, in your experience, does an image or video convert better on these pages? See, that's rough for me to say the answer to, because I don't know. It depends what you're doing, depends what you're selling, and honestly, it's something to. Unfortunately, I hate that the answer is split test, but it is. Simply because, like, in some scenarios, the video will hurt the conversion, you know, but that's a little bit more. Like, anyway. So it totally depends. In some, that's why, like, in this graph here, I even said that too. It's like it could be a video or an image, but make sure that what you're doing, you've tested both, because in a lot of scenarios the video can hurt, but in some scenarios it helps. You know, it depends what you're selling. If it's like something that's a little bit more intensive, or you're selling a course, or you know, or you're for the opt-in, I mean, and the opt-in, you're trying to give away this or that, or if it needs like very little explanation, an image is probably fine. You know what I mean? There's not many sales videos on Amazon to sell this stuff because it almost needs no explanation. Look, here's the thing. Here's some features. Sell. You know what I mean? But on other scenarios, if it's like an info product, or if there's a, you know, if there's a million people with an ebook on how to flip houses, why the heck is yours different? You might need to have a little video with you doing that. And I would use, inside the .com Secrets book, I would use the who, what, why, how script. You know, where is it? The who, what, why, how script, because that will help you explain quickly in a 2 to 3 minute video. Like, I would not make that a long video at all. You're just selling the opt-in, but it might take a little bit more, and you don't necessarily want a ton of copy on that page sometimes. So as far as like the actual script itself, actually, I don't know if the script is in here. I think it's from the other Stockholm Secrets Ignite book. Anyway, the who, what, why, how script, I would use that script. And that's what I would use to go through and actually use for this video right there. So it's short. This is not something that's long, and it's auto-played. So here's what I am, here's what I have, here's why I'm doing it, here's what it is, right? Hey, is there a guarantee? Like, sure, it's free though. You know, is there? Then you recap it. That's all the little pieces of that. And I would make it not very, like, it doesn't need to be this pro thing. It's fine just to have your phone and just pull your phone out, go to a park, which you see I've been doing a lot lately because of that. Especially on these front end things when I realize, like, oh, like, professionalism sometimes can hurt the page. So it depends on what it is that you're selling as well, though. I mean, great question. There's no way I'll be able to answer that for every scenario, though. But I mean, I would do both. I'd figure out what it is. Sometimes that's what we'll do too, is we'll create a page with a video and then a page with just the with just the actual image. Like on the Expert Secrets book funnel, I mean, there's a video there because we still got to sell it. And we're actually future selling a few of the things coming up. We're creating enough of a relationship. Albert said, when using a lead magnet squeeze to an affiliate sales product, would you use the Brunson box on the squeeze page? When using a lead magnet squeeze to an affiliate sales product, yeah, that actually could work pretty well. I mean, if you're using like a video, usually we use that for videos. So if you have like a sales video or something like that, yeah, absolutely, you could recap. And what you're recapping in the Brunson box is specifically the 3 biggest false beliefs you know they'll have, and then the 4th box is the call to action to go get it again. So you're getting the call to action in a button, but also the call to action inside the Brunson box itself. So that's 100%. Yeah, you could certainly do that. Anyway, that's kind of it for this page, though. There's not much else other ninja stuff to really show or even throw in with this. So, all right. Awesome comments, guys. Thanks so much. Also, too, kept pretty much everybody on here too. Even we've been going for 3 straight hours. Hopefully, you guys are doing okay. Hopefully, this is interesting as we go. Also, all right. So I'm gonna go build this thank you page real fast, and I'm just gonna put the elements in and stuff like that, so you can go through and delete or use whatever you want, things like that. And then more specifically, like I probably I'm not gonna go through and actually build out these pages and things like that. I'll make one. Because you can clone them out. It's kind of an option. That's why it says option down here. This is as needed. One practice though that I would have with these funnels is I would be subscribing them to a separate list than besides just your Seinfeld list. I would have this list should have its own list. This funnel should have its own list. So you're putting them to this opt-in list, and then after a while you're moving them to the Seinfeld one. And the reason being is because the Seinfeld one is kind of like the daily stuff you toss out about whatever you're kind of doing in your life, the things that are going on, the little tiny vignettes, the little episodes, Seinfeld episodes of what's going on inside your business, the stories, all the things happening, which is awesome. You know, you should have that. It's great. But that might not pertain at all to what they actually just went through. And so as far as continuing a conversation where they currently are, right, you should keep them on just its own list so that you can go through their own action funnel. They can go through their own sequence. They can go through their own automation, all the stuff that, you know, you can do and all that stuff on the side. I would definitely have all this on its own list though. So anyway, alrighty. It also can help for your unsubscribes to preserve people so that they still stay on some list. Okay, that was bothering me. All right, let's go build this thing. Now in this scenario, let's just build it.